Herein are contained the archaic symbols and archetypes that have been fittingly deciphered to reveal our evolutionary destiny, first described in fixed stars' rise. It is here where much of humanity is found to be completely ideological, following fancies of stunted imaginations at the end of their evolution. Now it is time to reprise a recurring theme in the historical record, in the archetypes of human civilizations, where empires are on the verge of collapse. This is the time when empires need a strong man to keep it all together. It is the recreation of the return of the sun god, a Caesar, a Napoleon. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it is impossible. Indeed, there are many different ways in which the empires may try to mend. Of course, there are many different ways in which the empires eventually fall. Some of these conditions and parameters were the same as they had always been. They could follow many different and documented paths of those represented in the historical record. They could increase autonomy for certain areas. They could grant independence to others. They could divide their interest into two reigning but closely related geographical areas. They could increase repression and violently quell unrest. They could almost silently implode amidst the overextension and ineptitude of bureaucracy. They could just fracture into many little pieces, or chunks of larger pieces, amidst the many. Now, however, a new and historically novel way has evolved to be recorded in the historical record, one that is endemic only to the founding race of the empire, that represents the highest political and cultural example of human societal achievement, and the most high-minded founding principles in the history of humanity: self-sabotage. Humanity has reached this point that few species will ever know or be conscious of, the point of evolutionary satiety. Yet this evolutionary reality, this capacity for novelty that is roughly equivalent to the sum of expressions capable by all societies and individuals, culturally and biologically, is part of a deeper chemical reality, the ecstasy of carbon. This is a momentous place, the point of both its greatest expression and exhaustion, where a species has been so successful in its evolutionary path that it has evolved a cognitive and sensory complex that fully matches its physical capacities, and, mirrored in the full expression of this physical and cognitive capacity of expression for its actual and physical form, has exhausted the sum of possible expressions of basic forms, made possible by its natural genetics, as expressed by the efflorescence and diversity of basic forms on a biological level, an individual level, a societal level, and a cultural level, and whereby, through the sharing of knowledge and concepts that can be appreciated and realized by its cognitive and sensory complexes in this fully realized form, has exhausted its inherent capacity for a novelty of its most vital and substantive concepts and evolutionary archetypes, the lodestar of its curiosity and the fuel of its intellect. It is at this kinetic place of intellectual and sensual satiety where the physical and the cognitive and the sensory merge. In summation, it is here where that stuff of awareness that is based upon carbon reaches its potential and indeed its exhaustion, based upon its most basic motivation and nature-made complex, where they reach both the necessity and the ability to create an artificial intelligence to enhance their abilities, both in their capacity for novelty and for appreciation, and to merge with it. Moreover, this paradox finds that if they were not to merge, they would face the distinct possibility that their artificially created intelligence would try to simplify the equation and no longer find the non-hybridized form worthy of interaction or even survival. Now, for whom does this bell toll? The possible answers can be found in the new book, The Ecstasy of Carbon.